Bernson's son, who just came to watch the screening, texting me saying, I had no idea my dad was funny. We had a feeling.
Yeah, we knew.
How was working with him?
He was terrific. He was totally game. He's really interested in working in half-hour comedy and doing a little bit of improvisation, and he was really excited. He came up with so many names for Steve Ranazizi's junk, like the chia den, the swizzle stick.
He had fun.
He was great.
He really got juiced to like be in an improv environment, and he fits right in. I mean, you see it's like, oh, this guy like totally fits in the palette of the show. He was perfect. I mean, just what we wanted, which is like just a guy, like a man. It's not our bunch of ninnies. He was really fun.
Was that a character that you created specifically for him, or one that you kind of came up and you said, oh, he'd be great for that?
Actually, Katie Aselton had said that she would really like to meet Jenny's parents, or particularly Jenny's dad. That she was very curious to know who's the guy who sort of raised Jenny. And so we promised her we would write the character of the dad. And when we started working on an arc for this season where Kevin was having some problems with his junk, we thought, what a perfect sort of foil for him to be a man that's just all testosterone coming into the house and putting him in his place.
Yeah, and then it was all Jackie has a friend. She came up with this idea for this Manland thing. I'm like, what? We're not going to do Manland. She's like, yeah, let's do this Manland. And she kept talking about it. It's like, oh, all right, that really works. But then it's like, okay, let's put the dad in. He's got the honey thing in Manland, and it all. And then we had a bear, and the rest is history.
So we just talked to Paul, and I asked him about the creative freedom they have to put into their characters and develop their characters. Do you guys base the characters in the show off real life experiences and people you've met or people you know?
Very much so. There's a phrase that Katie said yesterday, which is every single friend of the Schaffers. She's like, there's nothing is sacred, no one's safe. She's like, you should walk around with that like as a tagline on T-shirts. Like, do your friends know that you just completely exploit them in this way? So
we know a lot of horrible people. I think that's what it comes down to. But it's like any show. I think the way we sort of got brought up writing is you go outside and something embarrassing happens either to you or you see it or something that you wish you could have done or said, oh, that's a story. And so you collect all these stories, and some of them are from your own lives, some of them from your lives, some of them are from things you've heard, and then you go, okay, we're going to do this, and then you get our super talented cast, and they just blow it up. And every day on the set, it's here's an outline of stuff we think is funny, here's the funniest people we know, and then we live rewrite it every scene there with the cameras rolling and generate as much funny material as we can.
So when you started the show and you were doing casting calls, what would the ad have said, what you're looking for?
There was no ad.
Very interesting.
There was no ad. The process,
and there was no casting call.
And there was no casting call. The process was Jeff and Jackie are going to do a show. It's going to be somewhat scripted with the ability to do improvisation. It's along the lines of between Curb and Seinfeld of what Jeff has done before. And that there is a concept for it, but we're not going to tell you what the concept is. We're not going to show you a pilot. You have to commit to the show without seeing anything. So deals were made with the cast. They didn't read a word. All they did was sit down with us and we explained to them the kind of character that we thought they would be playing. We had it all. We had FX had seen the document, we'd seen the document, all of that. And it was just a series of sort of meals. We had tacos and cupcakes with Mark and Katie. We had tequila. I was leaving that out. Some nice peppermint tea with Nick Kroll, who to this day still thinks that we were totally cheap and didn't buy him breakfast. It's that thing where everyone's like, no, I'm not going to eat. Are you going to eat? I'm not going to eat. John LaJoie drinks and wasabi peas with John LaJoie.
Yeah, it was a series of that was our casting. It was a series of we're sitting down and talking to the person about here's what we're sort of thinking of, here's what you're like, and just sort of because we already knew they were funny, so we literally just wanted to have coffee or drinks with the funniest people we knew.
And did they just kill it off the bat?
And they were like, oh, and that's like you meet Nick, and she said, okay, well that's Roxanne. So then
we left that, and we were thinking about the show sort of taking on a different format in terms of age, and when we met with Nick, it was just Nick is Ruxin, so now there are a bunch of people we were thinking of that.
And John was the first one, actually.
And John was in first. So, John Wasako.
So then it was like, FX were like, here's our cast. The only person we didn't know was Steve Rannazzisi.
Yeah, we had a casting director. We did
Gina
a
McCarthy.
session, and he actually came in to read for Pete. And he left the room. He read for Pete. And he went to go get in the car with his wife. And I said, seems very sweet, but if you've ever seen his stand-up, his comedy is very aggressive. Steve cannot play, in my opinion, on a show like this, a single guy. He needs to be tempered by a woman who's going to put that all in
Bettered by
place
a
and
woman.
make it okay. Yeah, I mean that's what I would say. So he drove around the block, and we called him in his car, and we said, "Come back and read for Kevin."
Yeah, and then the only
rest
thing we
is
really did
history.
was do chemistry. The only auditions really was chemistry, like a chemistry thing, like seeing Steve with Katie, and we go, oh, that's perfect. You know, seeing Mark with Nick, and going, oh, that's going to be really good. And it was that was our casting.
So that way the football kind of takes a little bit more background, sort of like I'm not a huge football fan at all, but I love the show, and I think that's incredible. You guys are really maintaining the balance. Is that why you set it up that way?
It's something for everybody. I mean, we love the way people behave when they play fantasy football, and we personally love football. But the show is not about football. The show is about watching people behave badly while playing fantasy football. I mean, it could be a book club. It could be that you work at 30 Rock. It could be any other organizing principle people use for a show. We just think that this is where people get personal and behave badly.
So it's been real interesting just to kind of watch the show, how it's launched, how it's steadily kind of grown and keeps bringing people, and how it's gotten that growth and kind of get towards syndication. Can you guys just talk about, because you guys in your show have kind of grown in this very interesting time in TV is, and kind of even utilize some of these like streaming services. Can you talk about working in the modern kind of TV biz and how what you've learned through the show about creating opportunities?
When we started the show, like Jackie said, we sort of said, we're going to do the show. We can't shoot it until July. We'll shoot a pilot in July. You'll get it in the beginning of August. So that's the first time you'll see anything. And by the way, we need to be on in the fall. So,
and we also said to them, and by September 1st, because we've got other stuff we got to do, we have to know whether or not you want to make the series. So if you don't want to make the series, let us know. We're going to go back to our other jobs.
So we make this thing, and then they go, okay, we're doing 6. We go, all right, great. But then we realized we finished shooting. It was basically October 20th. The show aired October 22nd. We finished shooting October 20th. Like no one knew we existed, because there was they get those fall previews and stuff. We hadn't even started shooting when this came out, and then we were on in the fall. We came out so fast. It was like those those girls who go to the prom. They have a stomachache. They go to the bathroom, and then they have a baby. We were like the bathroom baby of the 2009 fall season. So and it was like, so no one knew we even existed. And frankly, FX, who's lovely and gives us as much creative sort of freedom as we need, they don't spend a ton of stuff promoting. I mean, this is awesome for us. So it's like the show exists still because somebody that you guys know or somebody told you to watch it. Said, oh my God, I saw this thing. There's this thing called Mr. McGiblets. I just saw the birthday song. Whatever it was that first season or that second season, we exist because somebody told their friend they just saw something really fucking funny.
It's also really great because we love coming to Comic-Con because you make a show for basic cable, you don't get to ever really see it live with your fans, and so to see it with 3,000 people is absolute best, and it's been a thrill coming here this year and last year, and the only kind of thing we can compare to that is getting to sort of on TweetDeck when we watch the show, watch the reactions roll in, and it's really fun. And we talked a lot about that to friends of ours who are about to start shows and haven't done a show in a few years, that it's a totally new experience for the cast, the showrunners, to be able to have a direct relationship with your fans, hear what they like, hear what they don't like, get really excited about things they latch on to that you didn't think they would really appreciate.
The Twitter feed is the
great.
closest thing to a live studio audience.
It's awesome.
But it's sort of annoying. It's like, why are you typing that? You should be watching. You're missing 3 other jokes.
So we do appreciate it.
But yeah, that's the one where we can actually sort of interact when we're not here. But this is the best. Getting to watch fans watch the show there's nothing better.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you guys
very much.
Appreciate it.